There we go. Going live with the World of Hobbies episode here. Gonna need some gloves for this one. So what we've got is a Spider-Man 3D print. This will probably be won't be a full hour. We'll see. Probably not though. Probably a little bit shorter than that, because I'm going to be working with some filler. So as you 3D print, I'll show you kind of what we got going on here. But working on a Spider-Man model. This is the Tom Holland No Way Home Spider-Man. Is that the right? Yeah, it's the right arm. And basically, this is a 3D print. He's going to be sitting on this base and lots of individual parts. And what we're going to probably do next time is temporarily put these pieces together so that I can prime this whole Spider-Man model, but then be able to take it apart afterwards so that I can work on each piece individually and do airbrushing, things like that. So might get time to do the glue stick or glue, hot glue with these, but that's going to be secondary to what has to happen first, which is working with the 3D printed base. Base printed in 4 pieces, as you can see here. Get some shadow, some light on this. But as you're probably able to see, the 3D prints don't always line up perfectly. And sometimes you get these little misprints or these little issues in the corners where things kind of bend as they print. They don't go together quite well. But basically, when you put one of these things together, it's way more important that the bottom of it be flat and smooth and sit cleanly on the table than for you to kind of bend and twist and make things go where you want them to go. So what you do in cases like this is use some filler, and that's what we're going to be doing today. The filler I use is Epoxy Sculpt. Comes in these 2 containers right here. And you mix equal parts of each of these, and as it cures, well, as you work with it, then it becomes a volatile substance that will actually cure and harden, and then basically after 24 hours, it'll be hard cured and waterproof. So for the first 30 minutes, you just want to kind of really get this thing going, and then 2 to 3 hours, you kind of get some formable, it becomes a little bit easier to manage and form detail and stuff like that. So because this stuff is not something you want to use with your fingers, this is something you definitely want to use gloves for. We're going to be putting on giving it the black glove treatment is basically what we're going to be doing. And I like having a little container that I can keep things in. There's a little plastic container. You can get these super cheap at any hobby store, like a big container of them for about $4 or $5. Also, this stuff doesn't really smell, surprisingly enough. And to get the contents out of there, I like to use another thing that's cheap at the hobby store are popsicle sticks. And so you can get with this 150 craft sticks. I think this was yeah, there we go, $1.99 for 150 of these craft sticks. So cheap, and they come in super duper handy. So we're going to just get a bunch of this stuff out and then kind of eyeball it so we know approximately how much that we need, and that we also get about the same amount of the other stuff from the other container. So we're looking at probably what a large grape sized piece right there. All right, let's get a large grape sized piece of this stuff. I mean, I could be super exact. I do have a scale that I could actually measure the two pieces. Really go 50-50, although there's no assurance that that the weight of one, like the density of one, is going to match the density of the other. How close are we getting here to getting these? And hey, Tiberius, how you doing, man? Oh my gosh, haven't seen you in forever. Still raiding, I hope. Oops, got a little bit on the table. Yoink, we'll just pick that up. These are pretty darn close, I'd say. Yeah, those are pretty close in size. I would say there is some equality to them. So we're going to just mush them together. Fold, mush, fold, mush, fold, mush, etc. And we're just going to basically get these things as mixed as possible. And then comes the fun part, molding and shaping and all that stuff. So something that must be done. Like if you're working with 3D modeling a lot and doing a lot of resin pieces that come in multiple parts, this is some stuff you really should have on hand. I'll put some links in the show notes where you can pick this up from Amazon. I think I got these from Amazon. We'll see where we're at. Yeah, pretty well mixed. A little bit of marbling. Doesn't hurt to go more. Flatten it out. Roll it. Fold it. Mush it. Flatten it out. Roll it. Fold it. Mush it. I mean, you know, whatever. This is kind of like, you know, when you're a kid and you're playing with this stuff in school. Playing with clay or Play-Doh or whatever like that. Oh, Diablo 4 Helldivers 2. Very cool. Nice. Also makes a very satisfying click, click, click sound, which you're hearing as I do this. All right. So we'll start with the biggest gap in here. Store that in there. Put these guys away. Don't want them drying out. I think we've got plenty to work with here, so no need to keep these guys handy. I'll keep the popsicle stick handy because that actually will come in handy. All right, so as we're looking at this thing, and I'll put my hand behind it so you can see, probably the biggest offender is this chunk right here. And even if we look at the side, it's actually pulled up. So we're going to have to do a little bit of fill on the back side, on this side, and then on the top. And that was just poor support placement on my part. But it feels like a little crumbly, like crumblier than Silly Putty. Silly Putty stretches. This stuff breaks when you pull it apart. I'm going to get about that much out. And I find that it's really easy to work with as noodles. Noodles about the size that you need. So roll it between a couple fingers there so you get some noodles to work with. And then, yeah, that's probably more than we need. For this one, I'm actually going to push it from the back first to kind of get things started. And that's going to kind of give us something that we can work with on the front. Also, this stuff, once it hardens, sands really, really well. Like it is super easy to work with and sand down once it's been cured, once it's hardened. So we're going to put a little bit on the front here. And what's great about this section I'm working with here, is that it is rock and ground and, like, you know, asphalt, which means that it'll be really easy to hide this. I don't have to worry about making it as flat, you know, like it's a flat surface or anything. So I can kind of rough it up and gum it up and stuff, and not have to worry about that. All right, so you can see it's definitely happening here on the back side too. Some people actually say, you know, it's really good to work with a brush. Do I have a spare brush that? Because this will F up a brush. No doubt about it. You don't want to use one of your good one of your good horsehair brushes with this sort of thing. I'm going to use the craft stick to kind of take the excess off. But right here, because there's an unevenness to it, you don't want to take, all of it off, right? Like I just did. You want to make sure you keep some in there because there's a little bit of a lip that one side has over the other. So as you're doing this, you just want to do it a little bit more gently than I just did it. Then we've also got a lip right here that we want to work with. That does need to be somewhat flat, and that one I can feel this thing kind of settling as I mess with this, that the don't want the glue to come apart. Hoy vey. Yeah. This will also help to kind of keep that glue or keep these pieces glued or holding together. So we are wobbling and just kind of shaping, getting things in the right places. We'll do quite a bit of sanding when this thing is all said and done, just to kind of make things more consistent. Of course, the whole thing will be primed, so it won't, the different colors of the putty versus these two different colors of resin that I used. I'm trying out a new Sunlu resin that I like a lot. And had I got the support placements a little bit better, the Sunlu would have been perfect. Going along this seam right here, this is going to be a long skinny noodle, and we're going to push it down in place. It's very, very easy to get this stuff pliable. Like when you first pick it up, even after it's been joined together, it's a little bit crumbly, but then as you start working with it a little bit more, it starts getting a little bit more pliable and stretchy and easy to work with. You want to, if you do press it into the nooks and crannies there, you want to make sure that you're not smoothing the asphalt in the ground. You want to kind of keep that texture. And so I might actually go out to the garden and get a rock or something just to imprint it in here and make things look a little bit more consistent. You can also kind of take the edge of the thing and just kind of rough things up a little bit. Not using the same angle every time, but different angles, and that way you're not getting the same curve and that sort of thing. You want it to be rough, but not a pattern, not a rough pattern, if that makes sense. Okay, got a little more I need to fill in on this seam. Actually, that's going to be a little bit of thicker spot as we get to the end here. Also, keeping it on a flat surface, making sure that in this case, making sure that surface is flat is a really good idea, because you don't want to press hard on one side and have the whole thing split. That really, that sets you back a whole bunch of time and process and that sort of thing. You don't want that. I think, oh, I do have a good brush. Actually, this brush is kind of perfect for this. So this is actually where you can kind of do some stuff and really blend it in. Sorry, again, the back of my head. You can kind of blend it in to the existing surface with a brush. Get a little bit heavy-handed there, so I'm going to push all of the excess down into the crack. Maybe here as well, and you can kind of see where the two join together. As you press down with your finger, if it makes an indentation that is the same shape as the crack, then you didn't use enough in that area, and you kind of want to reform it and make sure that it does go down into there where you want it, and pull it away from the sides, push it down in. So it's like you're pulling sides away and pushing them down into the seam. And then areas where you can totally see that there's there's a distinguishable mark, you kind of want to pull that back and then mush it down so that it blends nicely. You don't want this to look like, once you've got it sprayed and primed and that sort of thing, you're getting ready to paint it. You want to make sure that it's not like, oh yeah, I see two pieces of asphalt here with what looks like chewing gum stuck between them. That would be bad. All right, so we're continuing on. Got those two pieces joined together. So this stuff will harden 24 hours, and then probably Thursday or Friday I will prime it, and then we'll be able to see what we're working with here and how much of it needs to be sanded. I'll use like a sandable primer so that we can see. You can see that looks like chewing gum right there, so we're going to kind of really, and we can see the cracks, so we're going to kind of push those sides in to the crack. We'll be able to get the excess out. Yeah, and if this wasn't asphalt and broken street, that sort of thing, I'd probably be using something a little bit more rubberized to smooth things over than this brush. But actually roughing things in with the brush doesn't hurt. I'm sorry, was I covering that with my head? Gotta learn not to do that. Yeah, you don't want it even, for sure. Okay, looking good. Let's grab another little wad of this stuff. I definitely made more than I need, and unfortunately, you can't, oh, is it? Yeah, it is. It is a little ASMR. How you doing, Monica? Unfortunately, once you start mixing the two chemicals together, the two bases of this stuff together, there is no unmixing them, so that amount is gone. It's gone for good. Use it and throw away the excess is basically it. I'm going to start over here because I've got a lot to fill in. Kind of always want to start with the areas that need the most. And then you can actually just kind of push the excess, what you don't use, in. So I can see right here, this is where one of Spider-Man's hands, specifically this hand, is going to go. Looks like there's, you know, little divots for that hand to kind of sit in. It's cool. Fingertips right there. Try off a little bit more. Oh, I'm going to have a lot of excess right here. Just going to push that out with my fingers and then kind of move it over to here. And then I'm going to need a little bit on this end, so we're going to do that first. This is right on a rock that juts out. So I want to be careful to merge that rock, but not make it look like there's a wad of chewing gum stuck to that rock. It's kind of fun to mess with this stuff. Yeah, pushing back and forth both sides with your fingers. Does a really good job of filling in without taking out the what you've done. And these edges, these are just going to have to be sanded to make that work. We've got part of Spidey's shoe right over here, right here. And gonna just get some more excess off. This stuff it's settling into the cracks nicely. And you can use the big glob to pick up excess little shavings of the little globs. As I cover things up with my head yet again. You gotta remember not to do that. Yeah, I'm leaving more on this thing probably than I want to, and so pulling a lot of it off. And then spreading the remaining bits, but also going back and forth. And then picking up the shavings. As long as they're not, they'll dry and you can just basically brush them off. Here's a lot of techniques I'm using here. But it all goes to the same thing, like basically keeping the texture of the area around it while you do all the rest. And yeah, this is working really well. And I'm going to use this last little bit to finish this last crack right here. Got way more again than I need. Making a little worm, a little putty worm. And then pushing that worm right into the crack. Crack worm. Pushing it in. And then going one way to kind of get the excess off. And then going the other way to get the excess off. A little divot right there that I don't want to fill up. Don't want to lose all the cool textures that the artist built into this model anyway. Yeah, and this base was just too big to print all in one piece, unfortunately, or else I would have done that. I do have a large format resin printer, but it's not this large. It's not large enough to get with that. A little tiny smidge I need to get in right here. Right there. All right. As I shake the whole table. Forceful kind of stuff going on here. Pick up the little bits and pieces. It's fascinating stuff, isn't it, folks? Getting some of that out of there. There we go. Hey, the craft stick comes in handy for that. I'm gonna try it with some of this other stuff. It's kind of got the freedom of not having to make it smooth because it is asphalt. That's nice. I can kind of get the excess out where the excess needs to come out and make sure that stays in the places that it needs to stay in. Like that place right there. That guy has a lot of excess. It's looking pretty good. Wow, really? Look at all the stuff I have left. Anything else, Tina? Is there anything else you need puttied in the house? Yeah, it's even angled, it wouldn't have fit, Wes. Where's something that I can use as an example? I guess here's a pill container. I use these for priming when I'm working with minis. You just basically stick use a little bit of blue tack and stick the mini to the top of the pill case, and then you can you can spray and everything. But here's the pill case, the pill thing sitting right on top of that. That'll give you an idea of how big this model is. My build, well, here we go. Let's just show you. This gives you an idea of how big my build plate is. So the only way it would have been able to print is like at an angle like this. And I can't do that tall a shape. If you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Yeah. By the way, this is the Iron Spider model. So over here, you'll actually see I've got some of the pieces here that are going to be the Iron Spider legs, right? So, you know, this will get plugged into this guy, and it'll probably like this. Let's see, that's in his back. I think it goes to a shorty and then another longy and then the is that right? No, that's probably not right. Anyway. And then the little pointy knife piece. So it's the Iron Spider version of Spider-Man, which really cool. And yeah, it's also got pumpkin bombs. This is let's see how close. Yeah, that loses focus, doesn't it, if I do that? How far do I need to go back before you can see it's a pumpkin bomb? Followed by a little bit of smoke. So this is going to be a fun one to do. This actually is going to be, I'm going to airbrush this and then paint this part by hand, paint the pumpkin by hand, the bomb. But all of the cloud, the smoke coming from the pumpkin bomb is going to be airbrushed with like a red and then black, white, gray, but like a red, orange in here to make it look like it's still pooping out fire out of the back of the pumpkin bomb, because it is right there. So that should look really cool. And then this one's going to be fun. There's actually a newspaper flying in the breeze. I think that goes over here when all is said and done on the base. But it is this one I'm sure you can't see from there, but it's like, where is Spider-Man? There's a couple issues of the Daily Bugle. Where is Spider-Man? Sorry, Spidey, Parker or Faker fired, etc., etc. So it's like actual headlines, and then you've got copy on the back here. So for this one, I think because it's the copy is recessed, I think I'm going to prime the whole thing in black, and then give it white at an angle, prime it with white at an angle so that it doesn't fill in the little grooves. And then I'll do the headlines and the copy there by hand. So there you go. This guy will sit out for the rest of today and most of tomorrow. And then this is the worst part right here, is this little, where those things kind of bent a little bit. But this will sit and just cure and air dry for the next 24 hours at least, probably closer to 36, because I won't do anything more with this until Thursday or Friday. And then we'll start priming it and working with that. And in the meantime, I'll do another stream where we put the Spider-Man pieces together. So there you go. Wanted to be a nice short show. It was. I got to go to Puzzle Pint with actually one of you in the audience, Wes, if you're at where I'm pointing. And this is how I take gloves off, by the way. I blow them up like Howie Mandel. That way I can reuse them. Because these things are expensive. See if I have better luck with this one. Sucks as my watch is right there. Oh, let's do it here. Let's do it with, this probably won't work. This is the one you want right here. That's it. That's what you're looking for. So then I'll go, oh, this one, yeah, I can't get a good seal to pull it off. Anyway, there you go. And then I can reuse this next time. And no, I didn't get any of the epoxy in my mouth when I did that. So there you go. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this stream. And we'll catch up on how this all goes. Oh, because I put my thumbs up. We'll catch up with the rest of this stuff next time. Thanks for being here. Wheel of Hobbies.